Hi, this is Dr. Jeff, Chief Medical Officer at Rythmia Life Advancement Center. Topic of today's discussion is plant medicine for you. Well, I like to say that plant medicine is for everybody, but there's certain people that don't qualify medically or are they have a certain level of advancement personally that they might not need it. But I believe that plant medicine is something that is important for people that are struggling with certain issues. What's up, cousin? Good to see you, David. What's up, Davis? Anyway, plant medicine is something that, if you've struggled in your life with whether it's addiction or anxiety or depression or suicidal thoughts or things that you've tried all these different things in the Western system, whether it's meds or inpatient stuff, or you've been to lots of therapy, you've been through like the whole system, you've disappointed people, you've disappointed yourself, disappointed your family. You're trying your best to do what you can, but there always seems to be like this overwhelming vibe that kind of pushes you back into this system. You have choices, we all know. And sometimes those choices they seem slim, and they're hard to really follow. If you're somebody that's been struggling with a lot of different issues, then I would say, yes, plant medicine is for you. So what I want to go through real quick, just to start this off, is like the things that are contraindicated with plant medicine, the ayahuasca we use at Rythmia. So if you have antidepressant medication like SSRIs, which are selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, those are contraindicated with the plant medicine because ayahuasca is a monoamine oxidase inhibitor. So what you got to do is you got to come off those meds, and you have to taper with the help of your physician. And sometimes you have to have 30, 60, 90 days free and clear of those particular meds. If you're on benzodiazepines such as Xanax, Klonopin, Valium, those kinds of meds, those are anti-anxiety meds. You have to have 14 days free and clear. It's very important to taper off those. You cannot stop those cold turkey. You could have a seizure, especially if you have a high dose and a long history of using them. And with amphetamines like Adderall and Dexedrine and all those kind of Ritalin, that kind of stuff, you got to have 14 days off of that. You can stop that stuff basically cold turkey, sorta. Again, I'm not a medical doctor, so you got to talk to your physician to see how to do that. And there's other certain meds that are problematic, but those are the main three, like opiates as well. Opiates got to have 14 days. So, there's a lot of opiate use out there for pain management, for addiction, all kinds of stuff. Oxys are brutal. Norcos, 10 milligram Vicodins, all that kind of stuff is gnarly. So you have to be off that stuff to do plant medicine. So that's kind of like a bummer, because it'd be nice if you could just like come right in and do it. And tapering off those meds, often raises anxiety. It's very uncomfortable. There's ways to do it. There's strategies. So if you call our number right here, this one is right here, we'll help you guys with that, and we'll help you like ask the right questions to your physician so that doctor can help you with it. Also, if you have heart conditions, like if you have stents in your heart, you've had heart surgery, you've had a heart attack, you have AFib, if you've had strokes, if you have sort of general cardiovascular issues, we got to talk about that with you as well. So that's why you got to call the office and see. And certain brain conditions and gastrointestinal issues. So autoimmune disorders are actually really good with ayahuasca. Lyme's disease, Crohn's disease, Hashimoto's disease, all these kind of lupus, all these kind of autoimmune things are really good with ayahuasca. It works great. So plant medicine is for you if you've kind of like tried all these different things and it's not working and you feel really frustrated. And, it seems like there's no really way out of what you're going through. I've worked with a lot of people here. We almost have 5,000 guests come through here. They've like tried so many different things, and, it's not per se like their clinician's fault or their therapist's fault or any of that. Those people are trying their best to try to like work with you, but they are caught in a system that is not effective. So the system of healthcare in the West for mental health, for addiction, for like pain management, it's not very effective. It doesn't really work that well. I'm really happy about cannabis being more and more legal for people with pain management and for seizure disorders, because it's a really good med. It's super safe. It's a plant medicine It's really basic. It's natural. It's organic. So that's something that's really good. You know, and we got the stigma, you know, back in the day. It's for like stoners and for dropouts and for losers. You know, it has that. You know, there's people that are like that use it. But if you're using it for medicinal purposes, I'm like all in favor. You know, if you're using it for things to help your spirituality, then I'm all for it. I personally don't use cannabis because I just don't. It's not something that I need. I don't need to use it, but I'm not against it. So I'm all in favor if that's something you need for your health care, for things that are going to help you physically and kind of be in the right mood. Now, there's a lot of conditions that are neurochemical related, like depression, for example. There's like two kind of sides to depression. Depression often has a neurochemical component, which is a low dopamine. And some people inherit this from their family, or some people just like their lifestyle causes a dopamine deficiency, whether it's addiction or unhealthy living, and you're living in a polluted city, you're drinking polluted water, eating horribly, you know, all this stuff contributes to a dopamine issue. So those people have like a neurochemical situation that's going on that the plant medicine can really help with and kind of boost it back up and reset your brain. And those people that have anxiety often have a high serotonin level. It's more complicated than this, but I'm just trying to explain it in a simple manner. And, you know, if people have a lot of serotonin, they have anxiety, they're nervous, they don't feel comfortable, they have ADD, you know, they're kind of like all over the place. And this helps rebalance and reset that. So plant medicine is for anybody that has gone through different struggles. You know, trauma is a big one. You know, trauma is, you know, most people have some level of trauma. You know, some people have a lot, some people have minor trauma. A lot of people have it from childhood. Some people have it from, you know, recently. And, you know, trauma is interesting because, you know, when we go through traumatic events, what's happening is that, you know, we're trying to survive in those moments. And, you know, if I'm under attack, I don't want my emotions to get in the way and kind of freeze me up or prevent me from surviving. So my emotions kind of move out of the way, and I'm just behaviorally getting through that situation. And so what happens is those emotions, when they get out of the way, they don't just disappear. They go to your amygdala. That's a part of the brain that holds your subconscious memories. And so they stay in there. And if I have a lot of fear in that moment, and I have like anger in that moment or whatever, then that kind of is stuck in my amygdala. And it's what's happening over my lifetime is it's influencing my conscious reality. So if I'm living in fear, if I'm living in anger, if I'm living in guilt, and all this other stuff that's in my amygdala, and it's kind of seeping into my prefrontal cortex, which is kind of like dictating how I operate with people and what I think about myself, that's a problem. And it's often very confusing because, you know, we see people that, you know, don't have trauma per se, or don't have deep trauma, and they seem to be, you know, adjusted enough and they're doing pretty okay. And we're kind of like confused, like, oh, I'm doing the same sort of things. I have the same job as them. I have the same sort of family dynamic. Why am I upset? Why don't I trust people? Why don't I like feel comfortable in my own skin? Well, the reason is because you have some trauma, some emotions. They're caught up in your amygdala and they're seeping into your prefrontal cortex. They're influencing your life now. So what happens with ayahuasca, what we're using at Rythmia here, is that it opens up your amygdala and opens up the prefrontal cortex to connect with each other. There's a concept in neurochemistry called synaptic plasticity. And synaptic plasticity means that the brain can morph and change and adapt to things as you go through your life. You know, we used to think the brain was rigid and set at a certain age, but it's not like that. It actually shifts and changes. So the best way to kind of resolve a lot of this stuff is to build new neuron pathways that are related to different emotions and different realities and things that you understand. So that's why ayahuasca is so beneficial, because it helps create this scenario, helps create this environment, this platform for you to have this experience where you can resolve these things emotionally and the historical trauma, and you can move forward in a way that's like really healthy and beneficial. I've said this before in lots of my Facebook Lives. Your subconscious brain has no need to hold on to irrelevant trauma that is not necessary for your survival now. Because when I was 5, my reality was very different. I was at the mercy of my situation. I wasn't empowered to change my surroundings. I was just a victim of what was going on there. And I had to survive and I had to handle it. But now as an adult, I'm not like that. I can make choices. I'm in charge of myself. You know, I work with my family and my friends and my coworkers, and I have like empowerment now. So the fear and the danger component and the anxiety and all this kind of stuff that was going down when I was 5. It's not my reality now. So I don't want that sort of emotional profile to affect how I'm interacting now with my life, and that's what happens for a lot of people. We work with a lot of couples here. Couples come together, family members come, and especially the couples, they're like, one member of the relationship is like, pretty solid, and they're they understand a lot. They maybe don't have trauma. And the other person is like relating to their partner in this way that's like so out there. It doesn't make any sense for what's going on in their relationship, and they're angry and they're blaming the other person, and they're snapping on them, and they're just getting like all upset. And it's like the partner who's a little bit more stable is like super confused. Like, why are they doing this? Like, doesn't make any sense. Like, it's not what's going on. Like, we're happy, things are going okay, we communicate well. And it's because this one particular person in that partnership has this historical emotional trauma that's seeping into their life, and it's creating this dynamic where they're confused too. They don't know why they're like this. They just know they snap and they get upset at somebody, and they get upset at their partner. And so plant medicine is really good to resolve this. It helps like connect the person, connect them to who they are as individuals. Because if you're not connected to yourself, you can't connect to anybody else. I've said that forever. Like, the only way the world changes is if you're actually plugged into you. I can go and talk all I want around and lecture and meet with lots of people and do this and that. But if I don't feel plugged into myself, if I'm not united with my own soul, then that's kind of like empty words. And it's like, it doesn't really have the energetic sort of effect that it could if I was actually plugged into myself, because that means I can feel empathy for others. If I know who I am and I'm plugged into me, that means I can really connect with other people. And if I can connect with people, that means I'm feeling their vibe. And if I'm feeling their vibe, I don't want to hurt them. I don't want to damage, their lifestyle. I don't judge them. I'm just like totally full of love and like understanding and empathy, right? So that's like what the real sort of like issue is here. Like what's going on in the world, right, is that, people don't understand somebody else because they're judging that person based on some superficial criteria, their religion or their race or their gender or their identity or whatever it is that they're judging them on. And they're viewing those people like in this sort of intellectual way. And they're thinking like to themselves, well, I don't feel this way. It's not how I believe. It's not what I think. So they're judgmental and they're racist or they're sexist or whatever. But the reality is this: if you're plugged into yourself and you feel love and connection to you, you're going to feel love and connection to other people, even strangers, and you're going to understand that, they have their own life, their own reality. And who am I to judge somebody else? I'm not God. I'm not freaking in charge of like what's going on in the world. But I'm going to be the best I can be. That's my goal. Try to be the best person I can be. And that means I want the best out of everybody else. I want somebody else to thrive. I want somebody else to like be connected and feel good about who they are. Because I know that when I see success in somebody, I feel successful too. If people rise up, everybody rises. So it's like this whole thing about like, I got to be on top of the heap and I got to be dominant. I got to like be in charge of this and that. That's all BS. That's just fear-based nonsense. Like, why would somebody want to be like, hey, I want to be the king, head honcho, in charge of like all these people, right? And be like dominant guy. That you can use that for family, for a company, for a community, for a government, whatever you want to call it. Why would somebody want to be that way? It's because they don't know who they are, number one, and they're fear-based because they feel that if they actually have to look at themselves, they're scared to do it, and they don't want to look at themselves. So you look at the world leaders that are out there right now. You look at like CEOs of certain companies, pharmaceutical companies, different things. There's good people in all those things, right? There's good people in all those arenas, but there's certain ones that don't want to look at themselves and don't want to like plug into who they are as people, and they're fear-based and they're scared of themselves. They don't know who they are, So the best thing to do is get to know who you are, because that's actually really empowering. And instead of trying to like oppress and push down people, we can build them up, because when everybody's building up together, it's a great vibe. Everybody succeeds. Everybody's happy and connected. There's no more wars. There's no more discrimination. There's none of this stuff. And it's hard for humanity to do this because, we have this like sort of reptilian part of our brain that just sort of like is this dog eat dog thing. And it's different parts of the world where it's more prominent. But, it's all fear-based, and to get rid of that fear, you have to get to know who you are as a person. You just got to plug into who you are. And once you do that, you won't want to create these dynamics in your environments where, you know, you're pushing down other people. And I'm telling you this, let me tell you something. Knowing who you are is the most empowering thing you can do. Knowing who you are is like so liberating. It's the best. And you're not only are you happy, the people around you are happy, and the people want to be with you and you want to be with them. And it's like this positive vibe. So plant medicine is for people that are going through the struggle, going through life, and they're overwhelmed. You know, it's like funny too, because you have to really look at like what you've been taught your whole life. You have to take a look at that. You know, for whatever reason, I always questioned what I was taught. You know, and back then, everybody just thought I was a rebel and disagreeable and oppositional, and they kind of chalked it up to like I'm just going through a phase. But the reality was this: I trusted myself. I didn't trust other people. I probably should have some, right? Because I was just a kid. I probably should have trusted some people, but I really didn't, and that created this dynamic where I wanted to seek out for myself what was going on in the world and what was going on for me. I didn't want to like put my faith or trust in these people that don't live my lifestyle. I wanted to see like who I am, what my judgment was. That was my beef with like teachers, not all, but some teachers, some religious leaders, some government people, some bosses. That was my issue. It's like these guys, you know, these women and men, they don't know really what it's like to be me, just like I don't know what it's like to be them. So I don't want them telling me what to do. I don't want them kind of guiding my life. Like, why should I follow these guys, right? These people. I want to know for myself what's up. And that's the reason why plant medicine works so well with people, is because it helps you see for yourself what's up. It's very empowering for you. And if you're empowered, you can make amazing changes in your life. You can feel just like this freedom that you've never experienced. So what I want to do, right, is I want to welcome you guys down to Rythmia and come down here and check this out. We got all kinds of different people from all over the world. We have people from Dubai and all over Europe, Canada. We have people from Asia, of course, United States, because the United States is all screwed up, right? So we have a lot of people from there. We got people from South and Central America, people from Australia. We've got people from every continent in the world. We've got lots of Russians that come here. It's crazy. Like, I never thought, like, when we opened this place, I thought, yeah, we'll probably get a bunch of people from LA and maybe New York. We have people from all over the world. We have people from Iceland come here, Finland, Greece, all over the world. Because what's going on in the world is chaos. It's chaos. People are getting sick of it. They want to change their life. They don't trust the systems they're in, and they don't know what to do. Rythmia is like this life preserver that we're throwing out to the world to come check this out and come get some clarity. You know, there's a lot of critiques that go on about, you know, plant medicine and, you know, what it really does. And, you know, all I can say is this: you know, the people that are the most oppositional to this are the most lost, because they don't want to look at themselves. They want to point the finger. They want to create a situation that's not cool. They want to pull others down with them into their misery. You know, people that are like judgmental of like things that are so healing are just miserable people themselves. And you know who I'm talking about. I'm looking right at you. I know who you are. You're a miserable person. You're not on this chat. You're not here, but you're going to watch this video later. You're miserable. And you want to pull people down with you. You know, that's just human nature for people that are miserable. But I'm telling you this: you don't have to be miserable. You can be happy. You can be clear. You can be a part of like what's happening in this movement. There's so much going on energetically in the world. People are asking and looking for a change and a shift. That's what we're doing. And we don't pay much attention to the critiques and the judgments and the name calling, all this crazy nonsense that goes on about not just plant medicine, but Rythmia or whatever. You know, we've seen almost 5,000 guests here. 97% of them have had success. And that's a crazy number of incredible statistics. We also follow up with people 6 months later, and 95+% of those people say that they still have what they got when they came here. So this is an incredible program. It's based in plant medicine. It's based in breath work. It's based in a ton of integration classes, sessions with therapists, people that are here to help and contain you for a safe environment, a safe place to do this work. So I welcome you guys to come down here. Can't wait to meet you. Thanks for watching. Peace out, Dr. Jeff. Pura vida from Rythmia Life Advanced Center. See you next Monday.